Living alone is great. Having an awesome pet as a companion can be a little more exciting. Although I can't say the same about exotic pets. Did you know that owning one could cost you quite a significant amount of money? Want to know more? It's time to let go of the rails. We are about to dive deep into today's video as we talk about the real cost of owning an exotic pet. When you are considering owning something other than a dog or cat, which is what comes to mind for a pet, chances are you are not thinking of companionship, emotional support, and stability because exotic pets are more unusual. In some parts of the world, they are tagged more of a wild animal than a pet. Being a rare breed even makes some of them more questionable by people. It is sometimes challenging to care for these pets, from their social life to their living environment and weather conditions, to what they eat and drink during different times of the day, their treatment care, and licensing. They stand as a permanent risk in the home of their owners because it is hard to tame their true wild nature. People often attempt to train exotic pets, but some of these training prove abortive most of the time. They are always resistant to training, making it even more of a difficult task for a pet's owner to take them out just so they don't scare people along the way. People lock up exotic pets in a cage or a room in their homes, training them up in captivity since they are scared of being maimed or killed. Aside from that, for health reasons, exotic pets have also been discouraged and banned by law in some countries. They have the tendency of having zoonotic diseases. Another challenge is their mobility cross-country and within cities. There have been cases of trafficking and smuggling of these animals around the world, and to this end, international bodies have been put in place to combat cases like this. Some exotic pets have been completely banned from getting into countries, and those that are in are being controlled. Having said all these, people still prefer having an exotic pet and not the regular ones. Why they would have reptiles, rodents, and amphibians as a pet isn't quite clear. Furthermore, medically, it will be outrageously expensive to care for exotic pets. The main reason is that it is a very difficult task to get a veterinary doctor who wants to be in charge of an exotic pet's health. This moves the owners to try their hands on getting insurance to cover most of the percentage of these expenses because veterinary bills on exotic pets are a major financial constraint, thereby leading the owners with the option of buying pet insurance. Sadly, with this arrangement comes a situation of the rarer the pet, the higher the insurance premium. Looks like nothing about owning an exotic pet is cheap. Let us take an independent look at the real cost of owning one. Before taking the life's decision of bringing an exotic pet into your home, settle down to go through the responsibilities involved. You have to give maximum care medically and socially. There are tons of activities that cannot be neglected, such as giving the pet a walk, feeding the pet, and giving the needed training. Owning an exotic pet will require you to set thousands of dollars aside. Consider it a long-term project because, like other pets, you need to take full responsibility for their food, shelter, and their other needs. For exotic pets, most of their needs are not easy to come by. Birds are a bit on the exotic angle and also seem to be the cheapest in the range of exotic pets. It could cost you as low as $100 to purchase a large bird like a macaw, which only feeds on nuts and fresh fruits. By the way, can cost you close to $160,000 to take care of in the space of 50 years. A parakeet, on the other hand, can cost its owner between $575 to $10,000 in 10 years. Other exotic pets, like a rabbit or a ferret, can cost around $100 to $200, but you wait until it gets an insulinoma or an adrenal disease, which is one of their most common ailments. Its owner can spend $1,500 getting it cured. And the sad truth is that, in the course of their life, they fall ill several times. A couple of equipment will be needed for people considering the cold-blooded ones like snakes, lizards, and geckos. They require a tank-like home with heating devices, lights, hoods, and some furniture. Regular testing of the moisture levels through a thermometer and hydrometer is recommended and required. When a reptile gets dehydrated or constipated, its treatment could cost somewhere around $700. That's $14,000 in 20 years. Outrageous, right? If a small-sized exotic pet could cost this much, then what do we say about a horse? I guess the cost of this will run into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Remember, you need to build up a stable. Taking a quick look at an exotic pet, which is a wild cat, called a tiger, for instance, they are usually sweet when young, and anyone interested will not take a second thought at spending $2,000 to buy it. But that's minimal when compared to the expenses that will incur. By law, an 8-foot cage is required for this exotic pet. To build this, you will need to get at least 5 acres of land, and this will cost about $300,000 depending on the location. A fence is required on the land. This will cost an average of $8,000, and then building the actual cage itself will cost between $3,000 to $8,000. Owners of exotic pets stand a chance of having their insurance policies canceled. Doesn't end there. What's more is that they are also made to pay for liability insurance, which runs between $1,000 to $14,000 per annum, depending on their safety record. A big cat as an exotic pet could cost you a fee of $94,000 and an annual care cost of $8,000. This is only an estimate. Emergencies and lawsuits might increase these figures. Renting a van to and from the veterinarian can also cost money, so it is a wiser decision to simply buy one for around $28,000. This van also comes with its expenses because you can't leave maintenance out of it. When it comes to having a pet, an exotic pet is not the cheapest option. This mammal lives for as long as 20 years, which is a long time. And you know what? An exotic cat needs a lot of attention and care from a vet, more often than others. You know how fast they grow and become supersized. Moving them from one location to the other becomes a problem. The owner has to constantly watch its back for marks the claws must have put into place. Since they are hard to train, they usually mess up their environment. So aside from money for their care, they incur extra expenses for cleaning. Living in a mansion? How do you cope with this? Are you having a rethink? Please drop a comment to let me know your thoughts on exotic pets. Thanks for watching. See you next time with an amazing video from the world of luxury.